we could be spending time chasing nights, cruise the one until we see this.
Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm a girl with a plan and I'm here to help you revise for your exams. Now this is my first video and we'll be covering a bit of biology, but I hope this becomes a weekly or bi-weekly sort of series where I make my study session videos and I help you study. So let's get on to the topic we're doing today, which is the genome and DNA. Now it's important to mention that this is for AQA GCSE biology. So if you do any other exam board or you do combined science, this video might cover content that won't come up in your exams. This also covers some higher tier content, so if you do foundation triple, this video might not be exactly catered towards you. Okay, let's move on. So today we'll be covering the function of genes in DNA, DNA structure, and how genetic material is arranged in a cell. Now, here are some keywords you might want to jot down just for some future reference. So, chromosomes, genome, polymer, and nucleotide. So I'll give you a few seconds just to pause and write these down if you're taking notes. Okay, let's move on. So, the genetic material inside a nucleus is made of a chemical called DNA. You don't need to know what this stands for, just that it's called DNA. And here we have a diagram of a nucleus within a cell, and this links to cell biology, so if you're not aware of the organelle and the way it's arranged within an animal cell, you might want to go back to cell biology on paper 1 and review your knowledge. Now, in this lesson, we'll only be talking about the nucleus of a cell, but in the next video, when we cover protein synthesis and mutations, we will be talking a bit about ribosomes and its function. So if you're not sure about the basics, just go and review the knowledge on cell biology. Okay, so the DNA is contained in structures called chromosomes. A gene is a small section of DNA on the chromosome. This also links to cell division. So if you're not sure what a chromosome is or what its functions are, you might want to go and look back on cell division, also on paper 1. Here we have a lovely diagram of the chromosomes within the nucleus of the cell, and then that section of DNA, which we now know as a gene. Each gene codes for a specific sequence of amino acids to make a specific protein. Think of it as a recipe book for the protein that makes your eyes a certain colour, or that makes you blonde, brunette or ginger. This also links to cell division, so it's important to be aware of the chromosome and its features and how the gene is on the chromosome and that impacts your characteristics. The genome of an organism is its entire genetic material. The whole human genome has now been studied and may have some important uses in the future, such as doctors can search for genes linked to different types of disorder. It can help scientists to understand the cause of inherited disorders and how to treat them. And scientists can investigate how humans may have changed over time and even how ancient populations migrated across the globe. Now, a key point here that might come up in your exams is that a person now has the choice to have their genome tested to see how likely it is that they may get certain disorders. Now, this does raise ethical concerns, as this may be a difficult decision to take. So now onto the structure of DNA. DNA is a polymer made up of repeating units called nucleotides. If you're not sure what a polymer is, you might want to go and look at polymers on paper 2 chemistry. Now, DNA might also come up on your GCSE chemistry paper, as it comes up under biological polymers and it's important. So just look back and review your knowledge for this if you're not sure what a polymer is. Each nucleotide consists of one sugar, one phosphate, and one of 4 bases. So you could get A, T, C or G. Here we have a diagram of one of these nucleotides, and you can see how the phosphate and sugar are linked to this organic base. The nucleotides are joined together to form long strands. Each molecule has 2 alternating sugar and phosphate strands, which are twisted to form a double helix. Attached to each sugar is one of the 4 bases, so A, T, C or G. Now it's important that you know the DNA is in a double helix shape, as this might come up in your exams. And here we have another diagram of one side of the strand. So there's another diagram after this, where you have this sort of ladder shape which makes the structure of your DNA. Now this is important to memorize, and you might want to jot down some of these diagrams as I'm going through so that you can understand the next step, which will be in the next video, of making proteins and what DNA is and how it mutates. So now we move on to some higher tier content for the structure of DNA. This is the diagram that I showed you in that other picture, on the other slide even, and it is an attraction between the different bases that hold the 2 strands together. A always pairs with T, and C always pairs with G. This is called complementary base pairing, and it is a rule in DNA and RNA that specific nucleotide bases pair together. You don't have to worry too much about what RNA is right now, just that complementary base pairing is the sort of glue that holds together the 2 strands of DNA, making it into this ladder shape, as I previously mentioned. This is just a fun fact, but the bonds between your 2 bases are hydrogen bonds. Now that we've gone through the content, here are some review questions to solidify your learning. So, give 2 benefits of studying the human genome. What is a gene and what is its function? And why might there be concerns surrounding testing or studying the genome? Now I'll give you a few seconds just to pause and write this down. And I encourage you not to look back at your notes or go back in the video while you're answering them. But after you're done, you can go and revise your notes and check your answer for the questions. Okay, that's it for this video. This was just a quick revision session of genes and DNA. So if you want to see any other topics, please leave them down in the comments. And I hope I see you next time for making proteins and mutations. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope this session helped you. Okay.
We could be spending time chasing nights, cruise the one until we see the sunrise. Hit my line, we align. Every night with you's the time of my life. Baby, don't feel no